Before I do any interview, I have a conversation with whoever I'm interviewing and ask, tell me what your intention is, and I will tell you what my intention is, and let's see if we can align those two, because I don't want you to finish an interview and at the end of the interview say, I wish I had said.
Moments so public, so perfectly staged, that the whole world freezes and stays. The royal wedding of Prince Harry and Meghan Markle on May 19, 2018, was exactly that kind of moment. Billions tuned in. Streets were covered in flags. Anchors spoke in hushed voices like they were witnessing history. And right there in St. George's Chapel at Windsor, among the most carefully chosen guests, sat Oprah Winfrey, the woman trusted by millions to ask the real questions. Now, fast forward to 2026. Here's the question everyone keeps whispering. Where did Oprah go? Not from TV, not from Hollywood, not from power, but completely gone from Meghan Markle's world. No joint appearances, no mentions, no quiet support. Just silence. And if you know anything about Oprah, you know her silence is never empty. It's a decision. A verdict. So what happened? What did Oprah see or feel that made her step away so cleanly? And why does everything keep circling back to that wedding? Not just the grand one the world watched, but the secret one supposedly held 3 days earlier. The one that, it turns out, may not have been what we were told. Stick with me. This story has layers, and every layer counts. Let's start at the beginning, with the energy around that wedding. When Meghan stepped into the spotlight as Harry's partner, there was real excitement. People felt the monarchy was finally opening up, becoming more modern. It felt hopeful, but even then, something felt slightly off if you paid close attention. Look at the guest list. Royal weddings aren't just parties, they're statements. Kate Middleton's wedding had childhood friends, real family, people who knew her before the crown. That's the tradition. Harry and Meghan's list. George Clooney, Amal Clooney, Idris Elba, Serena Williams, James Corden, and yes, Oprah. It looked more like the front row at the Oscars than a personal wedding. People inside the chapel were reportedly asking each other, how do you know them? Not small talk, genuine confusion. Many didn't have deep ties to the couple at all. When you invite someone to your wedding, it usually means they are part of your real life. So what does it say when the list feels like a networking event for future opportunities? Some saw glamour. Others, including people sitting in those pews, started wondering, why does this feel like it's for an audience? Oprah was there, watching everything. And Oprah doesn't just watch, she absorbs. 40 years of interviewing the most complicated people on Earth has given her a radar most of us don't have. She reads rooms like books. She catches the gaps between words, the energy that doesn't match the smiles. She left that day saying how moved she was. But she was also noticing. There were already quiet stories from inside the palace. Last-minute demands, staff tension, a sense that this wasn't just a new royal joining the family, but someone treating the role like a big production. Requests to change things inside a 900-year-old chapel. Pushback over the tiara. Harry reportedly stepping in with a what Meghan wants, Meghan gets attitude toward longtime palace staff. These weren't huge blow-ups. They were small frictions that, in a place like the monarchy, carry heavy weight. Have you ever been in a situation where everything looked perfect on the surface, but your gut kept saying something wasn't quite right? That the performance felt a little too polished. That's the feeling many people close to this situation describe. Not hate, just a slow, uncomfortable sense that the story being shown and the reality underneath weren't lining up. Oprah, with her instincts, was probably one of the first to feel it. Then came the 2021 interview. The one watched by nearly 50 million people in its first week. Meghan sat with Oprah in that garden and made serious claims, racism in the family, suicidal thoughts, lack of support, feeling trapped. Oprah listened with total belief, open heart, visible shock and empathy. When Oprah reacts like that, the world takes it as truth. That's how powerful her trust factor is. But during that interview, Meghan shared something else, that she and Harry had secretly married 3 days earlier in their backyard with just the Archbishop. A small, intimate, real wedding. It was a beautiful, romantic detail, the kind that makes you lean in. Except the Archbishop of Canterbury himself later clarified it wasn't a legal wedding. The official one was the big public ceremony at Windsor. What happened in the garden was a blessing or prayer, not a marriage. This wasn't a small mix-up about flowers or timing. This was a major claim about one of the most watched events in modern history. Oprah didn't question it, didn't follow up. She accepted it and moved on. When the correction came out, it hit Oprah's credibility hard. For her, credibility isn't just part of the job. It is the job. Everything she's built rests on people believing that when she nods, it's because something is true. Imagine her replaying that interview later, seeing her own reactions differently, realizing she might have been used to sell a narrative instead of getting the full truth. Oprah doesn't do press conferences or public drama when this happens. She goes quiet and stays quiet. That wasn't the only crack. More small inconsistencies kept surfacing, details that didn't match records, timelines that shifted, stories that changed depending on the audience. Individually, maybe nothing. Together, they created a pattern that in Hollywood, relationships die from exactly this kind of slow erosion. People don't yell or fight. They just stop calling. Invitations dry up. Projects fade. The circle quietly shrinks. Look at George and Amal Clooney. They were at the wedding, offered real support, even their home. By 2025 to 2026, George is showing up at events with King Charles. No drama, no statements, just a clear shift in alignment. The same thing happened across much of that 2018 Hollywood crowd. They didn't attack. They simply moved on. Even Gayle King, Oprah's closest friend and one of the most vocal defenders of Harry and Meghan, has gone noticeably quiet. When someone like Gayle chooses silence, it speaks volumes. Here's the deeper part. The Sussex story has always been told with perfect emotional shape, clear heroes, clear villains, vivid details, big moments. It's compelling television.